Well, my name is Rosemary Farrell, and the kids call me Rosie because that's easier for them. So I'm the counseling director here, but I'm a registered play therapist. I taught for 27 years, first, second, and third grade. And during that whole time, I always could spot the little kids who were having pain from, I knew there was something going on. But as the teacher, I couldn't really do too much for the kids about that issue. And so after I stopped being a teacher, I said, I want to do something for those little kids. I really want to get into, being there for those little kids who are suffering so much. So I think it was mainly what I saw and couldn't do anything about. And so that's why I think I went into social work. And also in social work, you work with assistants because it takes a whole community. When I first started, I was angry. I was angry at the perpetrators. But, I also helped for a long time here. I was a supervisor for the offender program. And I heard some of their stories, and, it just hurt my heart to think that nobody was there for them. Nobody was there to stand by them, to hear their stories, to witness, to listen, to validate the pain that was in their hearts. And so they just keep acting it out instead of really getting healed. And in that, there's a lot of attachment. Some of those kids never, ever got attached to their parent because there was so much violence going on. And their parents probably had the same thing back there, so they didn't know how to give it to their kids, and so that attachment thing is critical. And they need their parent. They need that parent to learn how to be present. Because in the domestic violence, they were not present. And then when you have the parent in here, the parent also walks with you and witnesses. I've had some moms say, I never knew they felt that way. I never knew that. So I teach the parents how to do those things. And we do the songs, like, you're lovable, you're loved, you're a loving little child. And from your head to your tippy toes. And they start singing it with me. And the parents do it, and then we do wish songs. Because the more you do music and rhythm, that helps with that brain development. A critical thing for brain development is the attachment. And because of domestic violence, a lot of times the children, their needs are not met because all the conflict and the violence is going on. And so one of my main things is to work with the parent and the child in rebuilding that attachment, because that is critical, that connection. That's something for the development of the brain that is so important. So they do a lot of nurturing touch, they do a lot of singing to them, so I teach them songs and stuff like that so that that brain can be developed and that attachment can be formed. Because it's in relationship that healing happens.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Without the relationship, there is no healing. So you got to build a relationship first.
Yeah.
So that you can help the parent, be able to enter into that. So what I do with the parents when they're in here, it's really precious because I have them describe their play. And when they're describing the play, the parent kind of thinks, oh, that's so silly. No, but when they're describing what the little child is doing, that little child says, man, Mom is right there with me. Or Dad is right there with me, whatever it is. They're aware, they're present. And then I have them, besides describing, I have them talk about their feelings, because when you are able to tune into a child's feelings, they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel respected and reverenced, and so they know that connection just, whoa, just does powerful stuff. I've had one dad and a little kid sitting in there. The little kid was like 2 years old. And pretty soon in the middle of their play, there was the dad and the little kid with their heads together, just leaning and touching each other that way. And I used to have a pillow box that the kids loved. But they would jump in there and they would hide under the blankets. And their parent would crawl into the blanket with them. And they would sit in there and snuggle and sing and read stories. And it was so healing for those little children. And another thing is that they were used to doing there is they would hide under the blankets, and then their parent would say, oh, we've got a problem. Where is my little one? And so when they find him, every little kid loves hide and go seek.
Yeah.
Every little kid loves hide and go seek. And so whenever the parent finds him and their parent's face is all excited, they take that image into their heart.
Like, you do want me around, you would miss me if I was gone. Yeah.
Yes. It's just awesome to want and so they'll play hide and go seek. This morning, that little 3-year-old that I had in there, she was playing hide and go seek in there with her great-grandma. And the great-grandmother was good enough to be willing to get into the puppet theater. So then pretty soon they'd hide, and then I had this terrible problem of hunting for them, trying to find out where they were. I lost both of them. I had a big problem, but I would solve that problem. So there's a lot of little messages you can do as you're describing things. These little kids may not remember, the details of anything, but they got in their souls and in their spirits, they understand the emotional stuff that was going on. Some of them were right up close in their arms, when the violence was going on. So they were up close to the rage, and they were up close to the fear.
Yeah, that sticks, definitely.
Yes. So it's the emotional stuff. They won't remember the details. So I get so stressed out when I hear somebody say, oh, they're just little, they won't remember. I say, no, they'll remember the details. They will remember the trauma, the feelings, the emotional, being right up close, hearing the sounds, seeing the images. Those kinds of things are what really impact these little kids. And there's been a lot of research that shows that ones who are the most impacted are the little ones. They do tests on little kids who have grown up and they're in their teens. And they see, and they check kids who are teens or grade school. And of those 3 groups, the ones that have more trauma pattern behavior problems later on in life are these little ones. And that's why it's so important to me that we get to the little ones, that we get to their healing process.